Okay, testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. 1, 2, testing. I'm going to call that good. I'm just a minute or two early today. I'm going to go ahead and get started. If anybody joins me, would love to hear where you're listening from, and give me a thumbs up in the comments so that I know you can hear me. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, whoever's joining me. Let me know that you can hear me. That would be awesome. So today, we are continuing with our 8-part series on blockchain narratives. Hey, Mike, nice of you to join me today. And today's topic is self-sovereign identity. So hello and welcome, my Life with Crypto brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Money Monday crypto training, and I am your host, Kelly Sunshall. Today we continue our journey into the 8 must-know blockchain narratives, and as I mentioned, today is part 6, and we're going to cover self-sovereign identity. As you may be able to tell, I'm still healing from this flu bug that I caught last week. So please be patient with me and my voice. I still don't feel great. I'm not 100%. But I wanted to get back on track with our 8-part series and not make you all wait another week to get through this series. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and continue on. So first thing I'd like to do is to define self-sovereign identity. So SSI is a model for managing digital identities where individuals or businesses have complete control over their accounts and personal data. This system allows users to store and share their data on their devices without relying on a central data repository like Google or Facebook. With self-sovereign identity, users can decide how their personal information is used and stored. Self-sovereign identity is crucial for the evolution of Web3, which emphasizes decentralization and enhanced data privacy compared to centralized identity mechanisms like the Google Sign-In or the Facebook Connect. So self-sovereign identity is also synonymous with decentralized identifiers known as DIDs. And these are made up of 3 pillars. These DIDs are made up of 3 pillars. 1 is blockchain, 2 is decentralized identifiers, and 3 is verifiable credentials. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we progress. And there are 3 main participants in a self-sovereign identity system. And they are the holder, which is an individual like you or me who creates our decentralized identity with a digital wallet and receives a verifiable credential. Number 2 is the issuer, which is an organization with the authority to issue verifiable credentials. And number 3 is the verifier, which also may be an organization that checks credentials for accuracy. So here's a great picture that describes what I just shared. We have the issuer, the holder, and the verifier. So on the left side, we have the issuer, and some potential issuers that I have listed in this picture are a passport department, a training program, or a university. And in the center here is where we have the credential holder, which would be us. And then we can request proof, or a verifier presents proof of some credential that was issued. And the verifiers could be an employer, an online shop, or a bank, or many, many other places. But this is just giving you an idea of what SSI means. Excuse me. The interactions between the holder, issuer, and verifier are sometimes called the trust triangle. Every time information is requested by a verifier, the holder chooses whether to allow access to their data. So it doesn't just happen automatically. The person who owns the data is still in charge in an SSI system. So unfortunately, there is no clear consensus yet on SSI, but thought leaders do agree on 10 fundamental principles. Excuse me, and I'm going to go over those 10 principles now. The first couple here are existence. A user must be able to exist in the digital world without the need of a third party. Number 2 is control. People must have ultimate authority over their digital identities and personal data. Number 3 is access. Users must have easy and direct access to their own data. Number 4 is transparency. The way an identity system and algorithms are managed and updated must be publicly available and reasonably understandable. The solution design should be based on open protocol standards and open software. Number 5 is persistence. Identities must be long-lasting. Solution developers should implement sufficient fundamental infrastructure and design sustainable commercial and operational models. Number 6 is portability. People must be able to bring their identities and credentials anywhere, transport their data from one platform to another, and not be restricted to a single platform. Remember, these are all the things that the industry thought leaders are agreeing about self-sovereign identity, but they may or may not all be being implemented. Number 7 is interoperability. Identities should be as widely usable as possible by various stakeholders. Organizations, databases, and registries must be able to quickly and efficiently communicate with each other globally through a digital identity system. Number 8 is consent. Users must give explicit permission for an entity to use or access their data. The process of expressing consent should be interactive and well understood by people. Number 9, minimization. A digital identity solution should enable people to share the least possible amount of data that another party needs to minimize sharing of excessive and unnecessary personally identifiable info. And lastly, number 10, protection. People's rights to privacy must be protected, and safeguards should exist against tampering and monitoring information. Data traffic should be encrypted end to end. So with those 10 ideas, if you will, leading the way about what SSI is, let's see who is out there who's actually leading the way in this effort. And the first one I've got listed here is Sovereign Foundation. I've been following the Sovereign Foundation probably since 2015 or 2016. They've been around a long time. And there's a great video here. This tiny URL that I created is a great 4 or 5 minute video that I will share in the comments once I'm done with this training, so that you can go see what they have to say about SSI. It's a really good little short video. And Sovereign Foundation is a global public registry for DIDs and verifiable credentials. The Sovereign Foundation acts as a governance authority and operates a blockchain network monitoring and improving performance in support of its Identity for All mission. So they are one of the founding foundations, if you will. If you want to learn more about them, you can just Google Sovereign Foundation. The next one I have on my list here is Civic, civic.com. I have been following Civic about as long as I've been following Sovereign, probably since 2016 or 2017. Civic started out creating its own wallet, and inside their own wallet, they built in decentralized identities. Unfortunately, their wallet didn't seem to take hold in the greater blockchain world as being a really popular wallet for some reason. So they've branched out and they now offer services to developers. So their website said they're tokenized identities across all major blockchains and wallets since 2015. I've been probably following them since about then. They're worth checking out, but a lot of these places have deferred to creating solutions for developers and hoping that developers will incorporate their DID systems into their applications, but they're not necessarily presenting it to us directly, if that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments, please just put your thoughts in the comments there. If you have a question, I'll do my best to answer. The next one on my list here is identity.com. I think that this is a worthwhile website to go check out. Identity.com leverages industry standard open source identifiers called decentralized identifiers or DIDs to enable off-chain authentication. Excuse me, DIDs are a core component of building a native identity layer on the Solana blockchain. And I do believe that they're, attempting to expand to other blockchains as well. Let's see what else I have on the list here. So Unstoppable Domains is a decentralized blockchain-based protocol for registering and hosting internet domain names as non-fungible ERC-721 tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. And similar to Unstoppable Domains, we have the Ethereum Name Service, ENS. The ENS domains on the Ethereum blockchain serve as clear examples of DIDs. These domains are registered on the Ethereum blockchain using specific smart contracts, providing verifiable proof of ownership as an NFT. So NFTs are definitely being used these days for DID purposes, not necessarily for your personal identifiable information, but for example, in DeFi, if you set up a concentrated liquidity position on Uniswap, which I have done many times, they actually give you an NFT to identify your particular transaction. So that's one of the use cases I've seen of NFTs to identify a whole position in DeFi. All right, let me continue on. The next one on my list is Decenter, if that's correct, this way to say it, decenter.net. Now, I find this very interesting project. Decenter is a Web3 browser based on the Cosmos blockchain, but they say they're genuinely chain agnostic, which means that it can be used across any chain. I haven't used it a lot, so I'm not sure how that works, but it's worth checking out. So while browsing, you can share your personal data and generate what they call PDV, personal data value, and earn DEC tokens by using their browser and sharing your information as you choose, and then apparently getting paid for it. So I think that sounds like it's worth checking out. And then lastly, here's just a list of other miscellaneous projects that if you want to check out. There's a website here called slashdot.org. bitcoin.com/software/decentralized identity. And that it talks about all these different projects individually. And I will include that link in the comments after I've done posting this. And you're welcome to go check those out. Fred has a comment here. Let's see. Fred. Hi, Fred. How you doing? I have a question, kind of off subject, but I'm hearing there are three king things happening in crypto through April 1. Has happened already with Bitcoin blocking, and is suggested that there are ETFs that will skyrocket from these three things happening. What are your thoughts, and do you have any suggestions on the best choices to pick to invest? Well, today's training is about self-sovereign identity, so I'm not going to go into trying to answer that too in depth, but I will share a couple of thoughts. Fred, I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, but I can tell you that the Bitcoin halving is coming up I believe, in April. I forget the exact date that they're focused on. I think it's like the 19th or the 20th or something like that. So the reason that part of the reason that Bitcoin price is running up right now is due to the Bitcoin halving. It's also due to the fact that the Bitcoin spot ETF was approved not that long ago, and the fund management companies like BlackRock are buying up Bitcoin just as fast as Bitcoin is actually mined. They're actually wanting to buy more than is being mined, but they can only buy so much. So that's part of what's driving up the price. Those two things, both the halving and the Bitcoin ETF. And do I have any choices for a good investment? Well, I think Bitcoin and Ether are a good investment, but it's not necessarily a good time to be buying. What other projects do I believe in? Well, I'll throw a few names out there, and that I'm not necessarily saying right now is a good time to buy them because everything is up. But the next projects that will skyrocket are going to be altcoins. So some of the altcoins that I believe in are Chainlink. That's number one. Arbitrum is another one. AVAX is another one. A few others are near. I also believe in. I can't think of any others right now. There's lots of them that I believe in, but I'm a little caught off guard, so I'm going to go with those few. I hope that gives you something to consider and to explore. Yannick, hey, how you doing, Yannick? So will NFT eventually become the de facto identity system for personal IDs on decentralized platforms? Well, it's a really good question. I don't think so. And unfortunately, I can't speak super intelligently as to why. But I think there's going to be, for NFTs, they're going to have a specific place and way that they get used for identity purposes, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be how we manage our own personal identities. It's a very complex system that is being developed on multiple different platforms, and they don't necessarily all do it the same way. So I wish I could speak a little bit more intelligently to it, but unfortunately I can't at the moment. NFTs have their place. NFTs will continue to be important, for example, for real estate. I think NFTs are going to be used to manage the identity, say, of a piece of property, manage the the deed and stuff like that. It could be a deed goes on chain via an NFT. Your car title could go in an NFT on chain. I'm expecting those things to happen any day now. But our personal identifiable information, we need to be able to share bits and pieces of ourselves. For example, let's say you need to prove your age someplace because you got to be 18 or over. You don't necessarily want to give them a whole NFT that tells everything there is to know about you, age, where you live, and other pieces of information. If all you want to do is share your age, you have to be able to pluck that piece of information out of whatever's holding it and give it to a certain party. And you couldn't do that with an NFT. So that's a few of the reasons why I don't think NFTs will be the de facto DID system in the long run. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? That's pretty much what I have to share today. I'm happy to be back. I wish I were feeling 100%, but this is a pretty serious bug that's going around the country right now. So if I can get over it within another week, I'll be extremely happy. So that's all I have for today. If no one has any more thoughts or comments, then I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I hope you can see the value of understanding blockchain narratives as a crypto investor. Understanding the broader landscape will help you make informed decisions. So as always, stay curious, keep learning, share your thoughts or questions in the comments, even after this training is done, and I'll do my best to respond to everything. Thanks, Yannick. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you, man. And thank you for everybody who attended today. And I'll sign off for now and go rest. Take care. See you next week.